All right, thank you so much for joining me in this lecture. This is Gurpal Singh from Gurusur Education, and this lecture is going to be next in the series of market structures covered under the business economics or managerial economics. As you know, we have delivered you a lot of lectures regarding managerial economics. We have taught you a number of basic managerial economics concepts, and we have started managerial marketing or market structure as well. In the series of that, I have already taught you regarding perfect competition and all the things covered under that. In the same way, today in this video lecture, we are going to cover the topic regarding monopoly. So I'm going to give you the brief description of how and what we are going to prepare all these things. Okay. So in this video lecture, I shall be talking about a monopoly, their features, then price discrimination, then degree of price discrimination. Then we are going to talk about the different kind of roles of the time period, like short run and long run period. And after that, I'm going to tell you how a monopolist, how the man who is having the monopoly can be at the equilibrium position both in case of a short run and long run. We shall talk about the supernormal profit, then normal profit, then minimum losses in case of both the time period. So all these things are going to be covered in this video lecture. Most important features of monopoly is price discrimination, which is going to be discussed in this video lecture in detail. So the prerequisite of this video is only all the previous things, previous chapters, like you must have the knowledge of demand curve, you must have the knowledge of elasticity, and most importantly, you cannot forget to see the video lectures regarding revenue analysis, then cost analysis, production function, and indifference curves, and finally the perfect competition as well. I suggest you to see this video lecture only if you have gone through from those video lectures, because number of times we shall be making the relationship between different chapters. Like I shall tell you how AR is related to TC, that is average revenue and a total cost, because these are some kind of approaches by understanding of which we can make the analysis of the equilibrium level of a monopoly situation. So all these things are necessary to cover. I hope you would have gone through. If you have gone through, just enjoy this lecture. I'm going to share you the screen of what we have prepared for you. Just enjoy. So now I hope you would be listening to this video lecture, and you would have gone through from all the previous concepts, because this topic is going to be regarding imperfect competition structure of the market. From now onward, we are going to start the imperfect competition or imperfect competition structure in the market. I must suggest you that as I have delivered you number of video lectures regarding business economics, you shall be able to understand the upcoming lectures only if you have gone through the previous ones. Okay, so as usual, the prerequisites are like demand is there. After that, the concept of revenue is the most important thing which you have to understand. Then production curves I have already taught you. Most importantly, the indifference curve analysis I have taught you, elasticity of demand, and so many chapters. And finally, final but not last but not the least, is the concept of cost function. Okay, so all these chapters are interrelated. Like revenue has to be understood in a relation with the cost function when we shall talk about equilibrium of the monopolist in this market situation. I have already delivered you the lecture regarding perfect competition structure in the market as well. In that lecture, we have already studied that there is the perfect competition, and I have taught you the equilibrium position of the firm or industry in case of perfect competition. And you would have experienced that while teaching you equilibrium situation, I have taken into consideration two kind of approaches. Okay, and these approaches were total revenue and a total cost approach. So this is why it is very necessary to go through from these two concepts. Okay, this is the revenue and this is cost, because these two teaches you regarding total revenue and a total cost. Okay, and after that I have given the next approach, which was related to marginal cost and marginal revenue. So I have given you information regarding these as well. So for these, demand, then again a revenue, then again cost function, these are very necessary. So all in all, what I have to say you, that we have already delivered so many lectures regarding business economics, and you shall be able to understand this lecture only if you have gone through from all the previous videos. So now just going to start this this lecture. This is going to be regarding the next market structure, then perfect competition. So this is going to be the monopoly. So what is this? Monopoly is said to exist when one firm is a sole producer or seller of a product. Okay, so monopoly is the situation where there is only sole producer. Sole stands for one, or seller, and the product has no close substitute. And what a man can produce, no one can produce. Okay, so what features Tesla can give, no other company can give. So they have a monopoly in some of features. Okay, so some firms are completely in the situation of a monopoly. So monopoly means one seller only. Mono means one, poly means seller. So this is known as monopoly. Monopoly means only one seller in the market and he has the monopoly, complete monopoly. Monopoly simply means that he has discretion, he has his own will to charge anything from you, because the product he is offering only he is having, he is the only seller. If there is only one seller in the market, then he can charge anything from you. Okay, because he can charge as per his wishes or anything else. This is known as the structure of a monopoly. So first of all, as usually I have taught you regarding perfect competition. I told you that you shall be able to understand perfect competition only if you go through from its features. In the same way, I am going to explain the features of a monopoly so that you can understand the complete structure of a monopoly in the market. So what are these? These are single sellers. Always there is a single seller in case of a monopoly. Then no close substitute. Whatever the product is the single seller offering, no one can have its close substitute. Its substitute can never be found in the market. So this is the second and most important feature. Then a restriction on the entry and exit. No one can enter in the market because there is only one seller. No other seller can enter into the market, only for the reason that the product he is offering, no one can make this product, because maybe this one person is extremely efficient in making a single product. Then there is price discrimination. Price discrimination is the most important thing. In our syllabus specifically has been written price discrimination. So what is this price? He can discriminate while charging the prices. Okay. So if there are three buyers buyers for a monopolist. Okay. So there is a monopolist, he is a seller in the market. Suppose three buyer comes to him. Okay. So he can charge for different prices from different consumer. Like from A, he can charge 100 rupee for the product. For the same product, he can charge 150 for B or 200 from C or anything else as his wishes. This situation is known as a price discrimination, and it exists into the market only for the reason that he is the only owner of the product and no other firm is offering the same product. And the final is a price maker. He is the price maker. Price maker in the sense that he is not a taker, rather he is a maker. He can charge any price. He can decide any price to be charged in the market, because people have to buy the product from him, and they do not have any other option rather than to purchase from him. This is known as the situation of a monopoly. So till now, what we have studied, if we are making the conclusion, we have understood the meaning of the monopoly, and after that I have given you information regarding features of the monopoly. And then now I am going to teach you what are the different types of a monopoly. How can the monopoly be created? What are the different types of a monopoly refers to this specific point. So here are different types of a monopoly. One by one, I am going to explain you each and every type of a monopoly, and you have to be very careful in listening and watching this video lecture. So the first kind of a monopoly is a private monopoly. What happens in this case? The monopoly firm owned and operate by private individuals. If this is owned and operated by private individuals, then this situation is known as private monopoly. Okay. Like there was Gencom. Okay, Gencom, who he was the founder of WhatsApp. Okay, he had the monopoly at that time. No one could offer these kind of features in the initial years, like in 2009-10. Okay, that was the only leading product or company, although there are no number of companies nowadays. But when a private individual is holding the monopoly or the firm, this is known as a private monopoly. The main motive is only one, this is to make profit. The second is public monopoly. When the monopoly is owned, firm is owned and operated by government, this kind of monopoly is known as public monopoly, and it is also known as a social monopoly. Okay, for example, the railways, etc., or some higher level educational institution or UGC. You can simply say that UGC, this is not a private institution but a government institution. Then absolute monopoly. What is this? This is the monopoly where a single seller controls entire supply of the market without facing any competition. So when he can offer, A can offer any kind of supply in the market. If he wishes, he can supply 1,000 units. If he wishes, he can send 10,000 units as per his credence, and he is having none kind of a competition with him. This kind of situation is known as absolute monopoly, and absolute monopoly is also known as pure monopoly. So that was the third kind of monopoly. The fourth one is imperfect monopoly. Imperfect monopoly. So what is this? So this is, again, the condition is same. It is the type of monopoly in which a single seller control entire supply of the market, which does not have a close substitute, and the product is offering, this product do not have any kind of a close substitute, and he is just controlling the entire market. So this kind of situation is known as imperfect monopoly. That was the fourth kind of type of monopoly. The fifth one is going to be simple or single monopoly. Simple or single monopoly. What happens in this case? In this case, there is a single seller and he controls the entire market by selling the commodity at a single price for all the consumer. So when there is none kind of a price discrimination and only one seller, and he is charging only one price to all the consumers, that kind of situation is known as a simple or single monopoly, and that is the fifth kind of monopoly. In this kind of monopoly, there is none kind of price discrimination in the market. The next is going to be discriminative monopoly. Discriminative monopoly. So what is this? So this is the monopoly in which the seller charges, he charges different prices for the same goods from different consumer. So if he feels that somebody is rich, then he can charge the higher prices. If he feels somebody is poor, then he can charge the lower prices as per his own wishes, and that kind of situation is known as discriminative monopoly. So this is the next kind of monopoly. The next is going to be legal monopoly, which is backed by, approved by the government. That kind of monopoly is known as legal monopoly. And how this is done? Like if you make trademarks, copyrights, patent rights, if you just register yourself for these kind of things, ultimately you create your legal monopoly. because that monopoly is approved by the government. So that was the next, and now we move further and see what is there for us. This is a natural monopoly. Okay, natural monopoly. So how this can happen when somebody is having a natural talent. Okay, so natural reputation. So for that kind of things, he is having the monopoly. Then this is known as a natural monopoly. So when a firm enjoys monopoly right due to natural factors like location, reputation earned, then this is called natural monopoly. So natural talent, skills of a producer also make him enjoy this right. So that is situation of a natural monopoly. Then this is technological monopoly. If somebody is good in technology, then they can have their monopoly in that field as well. For example, monopoly created by L&T, Godrej, etc. They are having the technological monopoly. They produces everything in their factories. They have everything automated to maximum extent. They have everything automated, and they are just producing the things in their own factories, and they are having the technological monopoly. They are not revealing it to anyone. So this is known as a technological monopoly, and this is, I think this was the last one, the type of monopoly. So till now we have studied regarding monopoly, then features of monopoly and the types, which contained private monopoly, public monopoly, then absolute monopoly, imperfect monopoly, then simple or single monopoly, discriminative monopoly, legal monopoly, natural monopoly, and a technological monopoly. So these were the things we have understood. Now I am going to teach you regarding most important concept under the head of monopoly, and this is going to be regarding price discrimination policy. Because in case of monopoly there is the complete price discrimination, because the seller is a single, he can charge anything as he wishes. So in monopoly there is a single seller of a product called monopolist. The monopolist has control over pricing, demand, and supply decision. Thus he sets the price in a way so that he maximize his profits. So this is all that, and this is known as price discrimination, and it is done in several ways. Okay, I'm going to explain these right now. So there are three kinds of price discrimination he can make with his consumers. The first is personal price discrimination, and the second one is geographical price discrimination. Third is on the basis of use, price discrimination on the basis of use. I'm going to explain all kind of price discriminations. The first is personal discrimination. When the seller is charging different prices from different consumers, like from doctors, he is charging different prices. From the artists, he is charging different prices. From teachers, he is charging different prices for the same product. That is known as personal discrimination. So it refers to the price discrimination when different prices are charged from different individuals. How he make the basis, there is none kind of a criteria. This is only on the basis of wishes of the seller. Whatever he wishes to charge from different consumers, he can charge, and this is all his own wish. So that was the first kind of a discrimination known as personal discrimination. The second one is geographical discrimination. So when he make the discrimination on the basis of a geographical area, like if he's selling the product in Haryana, he's charging different prices. If he's charging in Kerala, he's charging different prices. If he has to sell his product in Telangana, then he is charging different different prices. And he is exporting out of the country, then he is charging different prices. That kind of situation is known as geographical discrimination, and this is also known as dumping. Dumping is the most important word which refers to this. Okay, although I shall explain it afterwards as well, but you have to understand that when the monopolist charges different prices at different places for the same product, this is known as a geographical discrimination or a dumping situation. So that was the second kind of a discrimination. I think you would have got the idea regarding that. Now I'm just going to move further for the next kind of discrimination, and this is going to be on the basis of use. You would have heard that in case of electricity, the bills are different for home use or for the use in the construction areas. Okay, so there are different kind of charges for electricity on the basis of use. This is known as a discrimination on the basis of use. If you are using for some specific purpose, maybe the charges are different. If you are using the product for some different purposes, maybe the charges are different. So this occurs when different prices are charged according to the use of a product. For an instance, an electricity supply board charges lower rate for domestic consumption of electricity and higher rates for commercial consumption. So this is known as discrimination on the basis of use. So till now you have to understand that we have gone through regarding monopoly, then features of monopoly, then after that types of monopoly, and most importantly what is discrimination and what are the different types of discrimination being done by a monopolist. So this is all about that. So I'm just moving further and let's see what's there for us. So there is the concept of degree of price discrimination as well. So there are different degrees as well. Okay, so these are known as first degree price discrimination, second degree price discrimination, or third degree price discrimination. So first we have understood regarding types of price discrimination, which were categorized into three parts. The first was personal discrimination, second was geographical discrimination, and the last one was discrimination on the basis of use. But now we have to understand how much degrees are there for price discrimination. Don't confuse degrees with the types. Degrees just tell you how much price discrimination can be done. Okay, so this is just telling that this is first degree, second and third degree. I'm going to teach you how this is done. So what is the first degree price discrimination? So I'm going to tell you this is this refers to price discrimination in which a monopolist charges the maximum price that each buyer is willing to pay. So this is known as the first degree of a price discrimination. Okay, so this is also known as perfect price discrimination, as it involves maximum exploitation of consumers. So first of all, he sees that how much a consumer can pay. Okay, how much maximum a consumer can pay, on the basis of that he charges from those consumers. So you can see that in this, consumer fails to enjoy any kind of a consumer surplus. First degree is practiced by lawyers and doctors. So whatever doctor charges from you, you have to pay them. So this is known as first degree of a price discrimination, and this is also known as perfect price discrimination. So now just going further, this is going to be the second degree of a price discrimination. So this refers to price discrimination in which buyers are divided into different groups and different prices are charged from these groups. Okay, so groups are made. So the seller know that how to make groups between the different consumers. Suppose there are 100 consumer in his locality. So he just make groups of the consumer, like group of 10 consumers, like they can be on any basis. They can be based on age, they can be based on income, they can be based on anything else. Okay, so he just make the groups and he charges different prices from the different groups. And how this is done, railways and airlines practice this type of price discrimination. This is the example of that, and that is known as a second degree price discrimination. So this is all about that. Okay, so going to move further, this is going to be the third degree price discrimination. And what is this? So in this case, the monopolist divides the entire market into sub-markets, and different prices are charged from different each sub-markets. So how this is done? So only on the basis of geographical areas, the different segments are prepared and different prices are charged from different segments. Therefore, third degree price discrimination is also termed as market segmentation. This is also known as market segmentation. It can be done again on any basis. And this is known as the third degree price discrimination. So I have taught you the concept regarding types of discrimination that were three, and degrees as well. There were three degrees. The first degree price discrimination, the second degree price discrimination, the third degree price discrimination. Now we are going to move further, and this is going to be the next topic. Okay, next situation, next case, that is going to be regarding equilibrium situation in case of a monopoly. And I must tell you, I believe that you would have gone through from the concept of perfect competition, in which I taught you how a firm or industry can be at equilibrium position. And in this lecture, I have taught you two approaches. Okay, two approaches. These were total revenue, total cost approach, and marginal revenue and marginal cost approach. These were taught to you, and I hope you would have gone through from that. In the same way, we shall understand how a monopolist can be at equilibrium level. And equilibrium you can understand from the point of view of monopoly very easily, that this is going to be the situation at which he is earning maximum profits. So this is the only situation and at which he can be in equilibrium situation. So the monopolist will be equilibrium when he produces that much amount of output that yield maximum total profit. A monopolist is also in equilibrium in a short period when he incur minimum losses. The reason being, he has to bear the fixed cost at any cost or at any level. So now just going to move further, and I'm going to tell you how a monopolist can be at equilibrium situation. There are two approaches: total revenue, total cost approach, and marginal revenue and marginal cost approach. So that is easy to understand. Okay, so in this axis, OX axis, there have been given output levels, and in this situation, in OY axis, there have been given the prices. Okay, so there are three kinds of curves: the total cost curve, total revenue curve, and total profit curve. So this is total cost curve, this is total revenue curve, and this is total profit curve. So first of all, you can see that total revenue is rising, and after a certain point it becomes stagnant, and after a certain point it starts declining. And that is all due to the relationship between TR, AR, and MR, which we have already explained under the concept of revenue. Then there is the concept of TC. TC stands for a total cost. First of all, it starts rising, and after that, due to economies of scales, it starts declining. After that, it becomes stagnant, and then again it starts rising. And this concept is due to total cost, total cost, fixed cost, average cost, and marginal cost, due to the relationship between these items, which have been explained under the chapter of cost function. So this is the relationship between these two. You know that higher the difference between total revenue and total cost, higher will be the profit. This is very obvious. If your sales are greater than your cost, ultimately you will be earning much more. Okay, but in case total revenue or total cost are equal, this is known as a break even point. So here M is there. M is the point at which total cost and total revenue are equal. At this point, you are earning nothing or you are losing nothing. Your total cost is equal to your total revenue. In the same way, here is the position N. Again, here the total revenue and total cost are equal, and this is also known as the break-even point, because you are neither you are losing anything nor you are earning anything. At this situation, A and B, at this situation, the difference between TR and TC is maximum, and TR is greater than TC. So this is the situation of maximum profit, and you can see that the profit is denoted by EQ level. So this is the level of a profit, and it denotes to the difference between TR and TC, and that has been given as A and B. So this is the first approach of finding the equilibrium position of a monopolist by on the basis of a total revenue and a total cost. So now I'm just going to explain you the next approach on the basis of which you can find the equilibrium position of the monopolist and how this is done. So this is done again in two ways. Okay, so there are some conditions. These conditions have already been explained to you under the chapter of a perfect competition. I taught you that MC should be equal to MR, and MC should cut MR from below. So if this is the these two conditions are fulfilled, then this is situation is known as the equilibrium position for the monopolist. And the study of equilibrium prices again are done in two cases of a time period, which I have taught you so many times under the head of business economics. The first is short run, second is long run. Short run is the situation in which you cannot change your fixed factors. Some factors of inputs are fixed, some are variable. You can change only variable factors. But in case of long run, all the factors of inputs are variable. The reason being you can change anything, anyone, and any kind of factor of production. So on the basis of these, there can be different position of equilibrium level. I am going to teach you right now. So how the short run equilibrium can happen? In the short run, the situation can be that the monopolist can earn three kind of incomes, like super normal profit, then normal profits, and finally the minimum losses. So these kind of situations can be there in the short run equilibrium level at the monopolistic in the situation of a monopoly. I'm going to teach you right now what is the meaning of supernormal profit. So first of all, before showing you this image, I'm going to write here. I'm going to draw here the graph of showing how the AR and MR are situated in case of a monopoly. So in case of a perfect competition, I taught you that AR is equal to MR, and AR, MR is all equal to price as well and demand curve as well. So that was AR is equal to MR in case of a perfect competition, and this line is a demand curve and this is parallel to OX axis. But in case of a monopoly, what happens? AR and MR both are declining. Okay, and the rate of declining of MR is greater than AR. So MR is here, AR is here. So this is how in case of monopoly, the average revenue curve and the marginal revenue curve are represented. So this thing you have to keep in your mind. Okay, so now so this is the situation how supernormal profits can be earned. Just remember in your mind what I have taught you in case of a perfect competition. I gave you the information that when average cost is when average revenue is greater than average cost, this is situation, that situation was for supernormal profit, and the same is the case in the monopoly as well. So if the average revenue curve is greater than average cost curve, then the firm shall be earning the supernormal profit. Here you can see this is AR curve, this is MR curve, okay, and this is the short run average cost curve. So average cost curve is below the average revenue curve, and it is cutting the average revenue curve at this point, okay. And SMC is all, this is marginal cost curve, and this is also cutting the average cost curve from below, okay. So this shaded area is the area of a supernormal profit, and why this happens? The only reason being the AR is greater than AC. that is average revenue is greater than average cost. You can easily understand that if your sales are greater than your cost, then obviously you shall be earning more and more. So this is the situation of a supernormal profit, and that happens in the case of a short run. The second case is going to be the normal profits. Normal profits can be there. Okay, so how the situation of normal profits are like, if the average revenue is equal to average cost, in that case the monopolist shall earn only the normal profits. So here you can see this is average revenue curve, this is marginal revenue curve, this is average cost curve, and average cost curve is tangent to average revenue curve at point R, and the point at which they both coincides, this is known as the situation of normal profits, because in this situation you are earning only to bear your expenditures and earning minimum. So when AR is equal to AC, and that situation you earn only normal profit, and that happens in the case of a short run, in case of a monopolistic or any kind of a competition as well. So the last one is the minimum losses. When the firm, when this is very obvious that you are able to cover only, if you are able to cover only for the variable cost, still you have to bear the fixed cost. Okay, the situation at which the average cost becomes greater than average revenue. Okay, so when your costs are greater than your revenue, that is situation of minimum losses. So you can easily see AR is here, but SAC is here. Okay, SAC, average, short run average cost is greater than, it's neither in a relation, or this is never becoming tangent to average revenue curve. So when average cost curve is greater than average revenue curve, and only the average variable cost curve is a tangent to average revenue curve, that is the situation of minimum losses to the firm, because they are covering only the variable cost, still they have to bear the fixed cost expenditures. So that was the situation of loss. So that shaded area is the losses by the firm. So there are only three kind of situation I have taught you. If average revenue is greater than average cost, this is the situation of supernormal profit. If average revenue is equal to average cost, this is the situation of normal profit. If average revenue curve is lesser than average cost, then this is the situation of minimum losses. So that all thing I have taught you from the point of view of short term equilibrium of the monopolist. And if we are talking about the long run equilibrium situation of the monopolist, then you know that in case of long run, all the factors of production or the inputs are of variable nature. So the monopolist can change any kind of a factor of a production or input so that he can serve to the demand of his consumers. So in case of the long run situation, the monopolist earns supernormal profit only because he can adjust the supply in a way so that he earns maximum. So supernormal profit I have already explained. You just have to remember that in the long run situation, the monopolistic firm, the monopoly firm always enjoys the supernormal profit. And how this happens? This happens at the position where AR is greater than AC. This is average revenue is greater than average cost curve. So you can easily see that average revenue curve is here, and the long run average cost curve is here. So this is going from this side, and it's just cutting the AR at this point. And LMC stands for long run marginal cost curve, and this is cutting MR from below. You can see here, and this is cutting AR from below as well. So at this point, this shaded area, this is the area of a supernormal profit being enjoyed by the monopoly firm. So the only condition is that AR is greater than AC, and you can also say that MR is equal to MC as well, and MR is cutting. MC is cutting. So this here you can see that MC is cutting the MR from below at this point. This is the point number E. So that thing is all in case of long run equilibrium of the firm. And finally, the only topic which is left, how you can find that how much degree power, how much degree of monopoly power someone is having. Okay, so there have been different theories, and two theories are extremely useful, and these are widely used in context of economics, which tells you how you can measure the monopoly power of someone, like how much somebody is having the monopoly power. So the first measure is Lerner's measure, and the second measure is Professor Bain's measure. So what is Lerner's measure? Lerner's just tell you that monopoly power is given by the following formula, and he is just saying you that larger the difference between price and marginal cost, greater is the monopoly power. So this is the formula for finding the monopoly power, that stands for price minus marginal cost divided by price. If you solve this equation, then you get the degree of somebody at which he is having the monopoly power. So this is very simple to understand. He has just told you that higher the difference between price and marginal cost, the greater shall be the monopoly power of anyone. So that is all about that. And what Professor Bains has said, his views are all almost similar. He do not take into consideration the marginal cost, but he take into consideration the average cost only. What he tells you that monopoly power is measured by the difference between price and average cost. So he is telling that greater the difference between AR and AC, the higher the monopoly degree or power shall be. So this is the situation. We know that the difference between price and average cost represents supernormal profit. So he tells you that higher the supernormal profit, greater the monopoly power is. So that was the Bain's measures regarding the calculation of a measure of degree of monopoly power. And this is all about that. And finally, as I told you, that there will be two terms, two important terms nowadays, which are very extremely burning. These are some useful terms regarding monopoly. The first one is dumping, which we have already studied. Okay, so if you are charging different prices in your home country, but when you are exporting the same product to different countries, you are charging different prices. That situation is known as dumping. So dumping is a term used in the context of discrimination policy. It's when a country or company exports a product at a price that is lower in foreign importing market than the price in the exporters domestic market, and that can be done for any purpose. Okay, like if you wish to capture the foreign market, then you wish to lower or make your prices higher, or vice versa, or any kind of situation can be there. This is known as dumping. It's simply that when you are charging different prices for different markets, this is known as dumping situation. And finally, this is cannibalization. And what is this? When you reduce the sale volume, sale revenue, or market share of any product so that the next new product can be introduced, this is known as cannibalization. Very simple to understand. If there are two products, suppose A product is already very famous and B product is just newcomer. So if you are reducing the sales volume, sales revenue, and market share of a product A, so that B can be introduced further, this is known as cannibalization. So cannibalization refers to a reduction in sale volume, sale revenue, and market share of one product as a result of the introduction of new product by the same product producer. And this is all about that. So now I have already given you the information regarding whole of the situation regarding monopoly. I have taught you a lot in this video lecture. Okay, that is extremely longer, I think. So just you have to make the conclusion. You have to remember everything in your mind, and you have to go through all the previous videos. Only then you shall be able to understand this concept. So it was all about these things in this video lecture. Regarding the next lecture, this is monopolistic competition. We shall be informing you as soon as possible. So thank you so much for joining me. This is Gurpal Singh from Gurusar Education.